Greetings and welcome to my product review for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Octarius. Before I get into things, thanks goes to Games Workshop for providing this to review for free. Still, as always, I aim to be honest, impartial and constructively critical. With that all out of the way, let's get on with the review. If you're interested, I've also done this review as an article, which you can check out down in the episode description below. And as always, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as comment down below what you thought of today's episode, as well as the review as a whole and, well, the new edition of Kill Team. So what is Kill Team? Kill Team is basically the skirmish version of Warhammer 40,000. It allows for faster and smaller format games without needing the larger time and investment that comes along with normal games of Warhammer 40,000. Kill Team focuses on two players duking it out with their own kill teams in secret missions as both fight for victory. The great thing is how games of Kill Team can be separate stealth operations to the main game, or used to tie into the story of normal/larger games of Warhammer 40,000, where the victor of the Kill Team game can set the stage for the 40k game. Even with this narrative focus, Kill Team allows for competitive games along with its more narrative focused ones. As such, it helps to appeal to players of both aspects, while still being a good stand-alone game on its own, although I'll cover different ways to play it later on. So what's in the box? In this Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Octarius box is the debut of the new edition of Kill Team, technically making it the second edition of the game since it got its own dedicated rule set around 2 to 3 years ago. Inside you get the Death Korps of Krieg Kill Team, the Ork Kommandos Kill Team, 5 sprues of terrain, templates and barricades, dice, a Kill Team core book, an Octarius Kill Team book, and then 2 sets of identical Tac Ops objective cards, as well as a double-sided token card sheet and instructions telling you how to build everything. While I lack the knowledge on price of the box, that is still a lot of stuff you get. The Kill Team Octarius box contains everything you need to play with the 2 kill teams provided in the box, which is an important caveat. You still get the full core book for Kill Team, covering all the rules for the game, as well as dice and measuring gauges. The terrain is also really nice and simple to build, as well as being designed around the core rules and mechanics of the game. As I said, the main downside is the lack of rules for other kill teams, which are locked away in the Kill Team Compendium book. Although this is more an important matter if you're not interested in using the 2 included kill teams. For the narrative, in the books provided, they describe the current state of the Warhammer 40,000 universe where there is only war, and the war zone Octarius. The core book covers why and how kill teams are used in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, from their roles to notable historic kill teams and their operations. Kill teams are shown how they fit in with the larger Warhammer 40,000 armies, and each major faction's kill teams are exemplified too. This is still refreshing and informative for players both new and old to the Warhammer 40,000 universe. As for Warzone Octarius, this represents the Octarius sector of space, where the current Kill Team box is set and named after. The Octarius sector is a huge warring sector of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, where orcs and Tyranids have been fighting it out together after the Tyranids were lured into, ideally, mutually destroying the Orc menace by Inquisitor Cryptman. Unfortunately, both races have benefited greatly from the endless combat, and now forces from both sides threaten to break out of the sector and spread out into the surrounding sectors. In order to contain these threats, kill teams have been dispatched to key conflicts to prevent this and allow Imperial forces breathing room to commit strikes of attack from. For the rules, in the core book, the core rules take up pages 50 to 81, so 31 pages for the core rules, and then pages 82 and onwards cover more advanced rules, with the book being 144 pages in total. The first few pages cover core concepts such as operative data cards, modifiers, engagement range, rolling dice, and so on. The biggest thing that takes a while for you to get your head around are the shapes. While standardized ranges are great, the symbols used are confusing at first and take a while to get used to. This is because a triangle represents 1 inch, circle 2 inches, a square 3 inches, and a pentagon 6 inches. If Games Workshop used different shapes, for example a hexagon for 6 inches, then it wouldn't hurt so much to read and say. It does get a lot better once you've read the rules and played some games, but yeah. Games of Kill Team follow a standard battle structure. Turning points are basically renamed turns. At the start of every turning point, you have 3 phases: the initiative phase, then strategy phase, and finally the firefight phase. Each game of Kill Team has 4 turning points, and then after that, you total up the total victory points to determine who is the winner. The initiative phase is where each player readies their operatives, who are their models. You give each fighter either a conceal or engage ready order and token. Engage orders allow operatives to make any action freely at the cost of being shot at. The conceal order represents being stealthy, limiting what actions you can take, such as not being able to shoot while concealed, with the benefit of being untargetable by shooting while within range of terrain. There are exceptions to these limitations, but those are usually stated under abilities and special rules. After readying operatives, you then determine initiative. During the first turning point, this is determined by whatever mission sequence you are playing, otherwise it is a roll-off. If it is a tie, the person who did not have initiative in the last turning point gains initiative. This allows for some interesting swings in momentum and limits a single player having dominance. You also have an initiative token to show which player has initiative for each turning point. During the strategy phase, you generate command points at step 1. If you have a leader at the start of the game, you get 2 additional command points. You also generate 1 command point at the start of each of your other turning points. These are cumulative and are not lost if you do not spend them. You can use command points to play strategic and command ploys. For example, everyone has access to the command reroll for 1 command point. Step 2 is play strategic ploys. Whereas command ploys can be played during the firefight phase, this is the only instance where strategic ploys can be played. Each player takes it in turns to do so until both players have passed in succession, starting with whoever has initiative. Finally, you have the target reveal step. Once again, starting with whoever has initiative, you take it in turns revealing any Tac Ops you have. These are optional to reveal unless the Tac Ops specifies that it has to be revealed that turning point. Tac Ops are basically your secondary missions, and I will be covering those later. The firefight phase is the main phase of the game. This phase allows you to alternate activating operatives, starting with whoever has initiative. Each operative can carry out a number of actions based upon their action point limit. Actions cannot be repeated more than once unless specified, so you can't repeatedly take the shoot action, for example. Once an operative has used up all their action point limits, they go from ready to activated and flip over their token to denote this. If an operative has a group activation of more than 1, then they must be activated in groups if able to. For example, 2 operatives with a group activation cost of 2 must be activated together, with the second operative being activated immediately after the first operative has been activated and finished all their action points. As for actions, they are broken up into 4 categories: universal actions, unique actions, mission actions, and free actions. You have a variety of actions an operative can perform as shown in the image. These are only limited by your operative's action point limit or unless otherwise stated in the action, as some do clash, such as not being able to do both the charge and normal move actions together. When it comes to shooting and fighting, the important thing to remember is here that rows of 6s are criticals, or crits for short. Crits are the best. Love crits. I am crits. Crits will be explained in a bit, but you have either critical successes or normal successes, which are dice that match the value or exceed the value of your weapon skill and ballistic skill. Shooting works by rolling a number of dice based on the weapon's attack value, then comparing the result to the weapon skill and ballistic skill value as long as you have a valid target within range. Remember that all weapons have unlimited range unless specified in the weapon's special rules. After that, your opponent rolls their defense dice based on their defense value, and you can automatically remove 1 defense dice to count as a normal successful save if they are in cover. Then you resolve the hits. Starting with the defender, they can use a normal save to negate a normal hit, 2 normal hits to negate a crit, or a crit to negate a crit or a single normal save. Sadly, a crit cannot negate 2 normal hits. The attacker then resolves whatever dice are left, dealing damage based on the value of each dice roll to the defender. After all attacks have been resolved, remove the defending operative if it is incapacitated. Fighting works a bit differently than shooting. It still follows selecting targets and weapons as shooting, but with both players rolling their attack dice each after choosing melee weapons to attack with. Starting with the attacker, each player has the option to strike or parry. You get no armor or invulnerable saves. If you parry, you can discard an opponent's normal success with one of your own normal successes, or discard one of their crits with one of your own crits. If you strike, you instead do damage based on whether you had a normal success or a crit. Your opponent then decides whether they want to strike or parry themselves. This is repeated until an operative is dead or there are no more successes. You also have combat support, where an operative gets +1 to hit for each friendly operative that supports them. An operative provides support if they are within engagement range. Whoever has the most supports gets +1 to hit based on the difference of supporting operatives. An operative has a wounds value of W. When your wounds is 0, you are incapacitated and removed from the battlefield. An injured operative removes 1 circle 2 inches from its movement value and gets -1 to hit from its weapon skill and ballistic skill values. Overall, shooting is strong, but fighting is truly deadly. Because it ignores saves and the attacker gets priorities, you can use fighting to guarantee kills on wounded operatives and ignore high saves as well as invulnerable saves. Never leave home without at least one close combat specialist. Objectives are your main way to get victory points to win missions in games of Kill Team. They use a 40mm objective marker in the box, but you control an objective via measuring a circle, which is 2 inches, range bubble from the centre of the objective marker. Whoever has the highest action point limit of total combined operatives within range controls an objective. You can also redeploy and move certain objectives with the pick up action. An objective marker carried by an operative is always in control of it until they are incapacitated. Note, only certain missions allow you to pick up and move objective markers. When measuring line of sight, you do so by drawing an imaginary line from the operative's head to any part of the miniature that is a target apart from its base. The image shown helps show when a fighter is in line of sight if it has the engage or conceal order. An operative is obscured when they are more than circle, which is 2 inches, from a point at which the line crosses an obscuring terrain feature. However, if that operative is within a triangle, which is 1 inch, of a terrain feature, it is not obscured but in cover instead. An operative is in cover when they are more than a circle, which is 2 inches, from your operative, and within triangle 1 inch of a cover line that crosses an operative's base or terrain feature that provides cover. Cover is a cone starting from any part of your operative's base to the edges of the target operative's base. Terrain is a huge part of Kill Team, and the Octarius box comes with several pieces of it. Terrain also has the following traits: heavy, light, traversable, insignificant, barricades, and then vantage points. These traits are decided by players at the start of the game, like in Warhammer 40,000, so you all agree on what each terrain piece does. Vantage points basically give you shooting points from terrain. Moving through terrain, climbing it and jumping over it all cost movement points, with climbing being the most limiting as you need at least a spare circle of movement to move on to the level reached. This basically means you cannot move 6 inches straight up a wall, as you would lack the movement to then fully move onto that terrain piece. The book also goes over examples of boards with good and bad examples of terrain setups, as well as how to classify terrain. They show that a singular terrain piece can have multiple terrain traits based upon its size and construction. For play formats, you have 3 ways to play. These are open, narrative, and matched play. Each play format has their own mission sequence to follow, which I'll be covering now. Open play is basically casual mode, great for pick-up and play games and intro games. Pretty simple with little restrictions on how you want to play. It has a singular mission which is found within the core book. For narrative play, here is the narrative play mission sequence. Narrative play are combined of Spec Ops campaigns. In a Spec Ops campaign, you assign honours, which are roles, based on your operative's data card, which are categorised between combat, staunch, marksman, and scout. You gain experience and skills as you play through a Spec Ops campaign based on how well your operatives perform, and you can even lose them permanently if they die and you roll badly on the injury table. You also have a base of operations to work from, and can requisition skills and items as the Spec Ops campaign progresses. Spec Ops campaigns basically follow the old rules from the previous Kill Team edition. The specializations and items are how Kill Teams used to be constructed. It is more in-depth than match play, but it leads to really fun and rewarding narrative campaigns as long as you are able to invest the time into playing Spec Ops campaigns. Match play is the way to play Kill Team competitively. First, you have your roster of your faction made up of 20 operatives. From this roster, you construct your fire teams and kill team to play a mission with. Constructing a kill team is covered separately in depth within the Kill Team Compendium book. Once you have a matched roster, you follow the match play mission sequence. While it does have a lot of steps, the sequence is clear and easy to follow. You follow the steps, then begin playing. For match play, you use the Critical Operations Mission Pack. These are 9 missions which are determined via rolling a d3 to determine which table is rolled on, either the table 1, 2 or 3, and then another d3 for which mission will be used. Each mission is very varied and feels mostly balanced with a focus on management of the objectives, with scoring based off of completing mission objectives. Tac Ops are a big part of Kill Team as they provide you with additional missions to complete to score more victory points. These are basically your secondary missions. You select a Tac Ops category based on your kill team's archetype. Note a kill team can have multiple archetypes, but you can only include Tac Ops from a single archetype. These are Seek and Destroy, Security, Infiltration, and Recon. Newer factions come with free faction Tac Ops that you can select instead, with each replacing a single Tac Op from the chosen archetype you have selected. As shown in the match play mission sequence in Step 8, you will now have a deck of 6 Tac Op cards. You draw 2, discarding 1. You repeat this process 2 more times until you have 3 secret Tac Ops, which you reveal as stated by the cards or during the strategy phase. Thankfully, the Kill Team Octarius box comes with 2 identical Tac Op card decks, meaning both players can select their Tac Ops with ease. You also have 3 included blank Tac Op cards for each deck to represent faction Tac Ops. Finally, you have the Appendix. This covers all the special rules for every shooting and close combat weapon in the game. It is clear, mostly, and at the back of the book. Would have been nice to be included as a separate reference sheet too, but yeah. The heavy trait is the only slightly unclear wording, as it states you cannot move or charge after performing an attack with the heavy weapon, but it doesn't state you can move then shoot, as you choose the order which actions are resolved one at a time. The intention is clear, but just needs some clarifying. For the second book in the Kill Team Octarius box, you get the Octarius Book, which covers the narrative of kill teams and missions for Octarius. For a campaign book / supplement, it does cover a lot of things with a surprising level of depth too. You get an in-depth explanation of the Octarius sector and how everything is going currently. The book covers a deeper focus on the Astra Militarum and Ork forces, including details such as names, heroic kill teams, and lore. For rules outside of the included kill teams, you get 9 specific missions based on the Octarius sector. These are designed for spec op campaigns and add excellent narrative focus, along with detailed deployment maps using the provided terrain. The Octarius book even lists and categorizes all the specific terrain found within the Kill Team Octarius box. As an extra touch, you even get narrative-themed data cards for your Krieg and Ork operatives, with accurate Orky touches for the Xenos brutes. Overall, the Octarius book is a great thing. It introduces new kill teams and rules in a way that makes sense, while still heavily tying them to the narrative of the setting. The focus on narrative is especially nice, as that is something that has been heavily missing from recent publications of Warhammer 40,000 codexes. Even then, the Octarius book is a great way to play the contents of the Kill Team Octarius box, as the narrative missions allow for a balanced and thematic natural gameplay progression. If this is how Kill Team plans on adding new kill teams, then it's definitely a good sign. Within the Octarius book, you get dedicated and detailed rules for the new kill teams. First up are the Death Corps of Krieg. The Octarius book shows how you can build a Death Corps of Krieg kill team along with their rules. The sprues are packed with detail. Everything is fairly straightforward to build, although it is still complex for a Games Workshop kit. I rate the Death Corps similar to a Necromunda kit in terms of build difficulty. You get a lot of amazing options, with my favourite being the spotter with the pocket watch option. Bodies and heads can't be swapped, which makes sense, but arms have a bit more freedom. Firstly, their archetype is security, which is a little limiting as they only have a single archetype to choose from for Tac Ops. For the kill team, it is basically a single fire team consisting of 10 veteran guardsmen and 1 ancillary support option. Your 10 veteran guardsmen consist of a sergeant and then 9 other veteran guardsmen from the following list: a trooper, confidant, zealot, medic, comms, demolition, bruiser, hardened veteran, sniper, spotter, and then gunners with either a grenade launcher, melter gun, or plasma gun, or a flamer. There is a lot, and you can select up to 9 normal troopers, and each other operative can be selected a maximum of once. The powerful thing here is that you can have 4 different gunners, however you are limited by what you can build with the kit. You do get the ability to build each operative, but a lot of them share the same parts and poses, which limit your ability to work with a single kit slightly. So for example, the gunners basically take up all the same sprues, so it's really difficult to actually build 4 separate gunners. The ancillary support option is a bit confusing. I believe you get both aspects of it, but the wording is not entirely clear. This is because the option consists of 2 parts. The first part provides 4 additional trooper veteran operatives. The second part gives you access to 4 tactical assets. These are basically 4 different kinds of called-in attacks, from an artillery barrage, marked airstrike, guided missile, and strafing run. From the 2 selected per game, you can only use each one once, and not during the same turning point. The reason I feel it might be a choice between both options, that you either get 4 veteran troopers or 2 tactical assets, is because tactical assets are pretty strong and you only get 10 troopers in the box, so you would need to find another way to get 4 extra models. Either way, both are good options, and the tactical assets provide more extra punch to the kill team. For the additional rules, the Death Corps of Krieg kill team has the ability to issue 4 different orders during the strategy phase for free from your leader to every friendly operative within Pentagon 6 inches of him. These orders are move, 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 take aim, hold position, and fix bayonets. The kill team also has a selection of strategic ploys and tactical ploys for even more tactical power at the cost of CP. You also get an equipment page, as you get 10 points for equipment as per the match play and narrative play mission sequences. These are all a variety of thematic faction equipment from hotshot capacitor packs, shovels, grenades, and so on. Finally, there are 5 pages dedicated to Spec Ops play, from battle honours, equipment, and missions. Everything you need to play a narrative campaign with Kill Team, and a subtle guide for doing so at the same time. Here are the veteran data cards. You have your standard trooper veteran with a lasgun and bayonet, and a group activation cost of 2. Your sergeant veteran is basically your leader. He can be equipped with a variety of weapons and has the Guardsman Order ability. He's also basically your combat person, as you really want him with a power weapon and plasma pistol. Your sniper veteran has a long las and has the sniper rule, so as long as he doesn't move, he can shoot while concealed, which is hugely strong. Your gunner veteran is your special weapons guy and can either take a flamer, grenade launcher, melter gun, or plasma gun. Your confidant veteran is basically your second in command and can become your sergeant if your sergeant dies. It also has the directive rule, which basically allows it to immediately activate a friendly fighter after this confidant has finished activating, and reduces their group activation cost for 1 instead of 2 if it was higher. Your demolition veteran is basically your demo guy. Plant bombs to booby trap stuff such as objectives. It can also be shot while silent, so you can basically have him running around, stealthing around the board, placing bombs everywhere. Your zealot veteran is basically your priest. He's buffed by the belief in the Emperor and has the uplifting primer, which can upgrade and buff the dice into crits for operatives within range. Your medic is your healer. It can either heal a friendly fighter, or once per turning point when a friendly veteran will be taken out within range, it is instead left on 1 wound, and then both the medic and the veteran are reduced to 1 action point. You cannot heal someone in the same turn you've brought someone back to life, and vice versa. You have your comms veteran, which for 1 action point can make your orders go from within a 6-inch bubble to affect everyone in the kill team. And then you can also, on a cost of 1 action point, give 1 action point to another friendly operative within 6. Your bruiser is a slightly better melee guardsman with a trench club. Your hardened veteran is your bionic arm dude. It has a bionic arm and has a 5-up save every time a wound is lost, making it surprisingly durable. Your spotter veteran is one of your buff units. It has a mortar barrage which can fire silently while concealed, and for 2 AP it can use its spotter ability, which allows it to target 1 enemy operative that is concealed and then immediately activate an operative within 2 inches of it, and then they can then shoot at it. For example, you target an enemy operative that is concealed hiding behind terrain, you can now shoot at it immediately with the sniper. Overall, the Death Corps of Krieg kill team looks fragile, but requires synergy to play well. Individually, the kill team falls apart, but when operatives are used to support each other, such as with the spotter and with the sniper, you can do very powerful combinations that your opponent will struggle to deal with. The Krieg fighters are packed with tons of individual special rules, which will slow things down for newer players, but it still provides tactical players with lots of tools at their disposal. The kill team can still be overrun if overextended and rushed early, but with controlled and steady supportive play, they end up to be a very strong kill team. For the Ork Kommandos, the Kommando kill team has a similar layout to the Death Court of Krieg kill team. Once again, the sprues are packed with detail. The biggest problem is that all the parts are scattered randomly around the sprues. What this means is stuff like a pair of legs is on one sprue, then its other leg or neck or head is on a completely different part of the sprue. Nothing is placed near each other in anything that makes sense, so construction becomes a long and annoying process. The models, when you have all the specific parts together, are straightforward build with lots of options. Heads are even interchangeable depending on the body. Lots of amazing thematic detail. I just wish they were organised better on the sprue. The Kommando kill team has the archetypes of Seek and Destroy, as well as Infiltration, so you have quite some choice when it comes to Tac Ops selection. A kill team consists of a Nob, then 9 other Commando operatives consisting of a Boy, Grot, Slasher Boy, Breacher Boy, Sniper Boy, Dacker Boy, Comms Boy, Burner Boy, Rocket Boy and Bomb Squig. As before, each operative can only be selected once, whereas the Kommando Boy can be selected up to 9 times. Note you get 12 models in this kill team, and so all the operatives won't be usable at once in a normal game. The Kommando kill team has the special ability which is Throat Slitters. This allows all operatives except the Bomb Squig to perform a charge action while under the Conceal order. This is hugely powerful and allows your melee fighters to effectively move up the battlefield while unable to be shot at and then do sneaky charges. Thematic, but a bit too strong in practice. Like with the Krieg team, you get a powerful selection of strategic and tactical ploys. Special note has to go to the Skulk About here, as it lets Commando operatives with the Conceal order retain a save dice without rolling it, which stacks with cover and even works while out in the open. Just so strong. You also get an equipment page too, such as choppers for all your operatives with no melee weapons, and then another large selection of narrative spec-up rules for your disposable. Here are the Kommando Kill Team Datacards. Your Kommando Boy has a Slugger and Chopper, with the Slugger oddly hitting on a 4-up, with the Chopper hitting on a 3 and doing decent damage. You have the Kommando Slasher Boy, which is your knives expert, who can throw knives silently while concealed, and has twin choppers. It also has a special rule where if it doesn't kill someone in combat, on a 4-up they suffer 2 mortal wounds, so you basically die no matter what when fighting against this orc. The Kommando Breacher Boy has a Slugger and Breacher Ram. It also has the Ball Charge rule, so each time this fights in combat, if it made a charge move, the Para Ram gains the Brutal trait for that combat, so it can only be parried on crits. And it has the More Broken rule, which is Breach, so each time this operative moves, it can move through terrain features which are no more than an inch thick for free, as if they were not there, so he can do some really crazy surprise charges. The Kommando Sniper Boy is the weirdest yet most broken sniper ever. It has 6 dice which hit on freeze, with 2/2 damage doing a 2 additional mortal wounds on a crit. It has Avit, which costs 2 action points, which allow it to shoot at one model and all other models within 2 inches of that model for free. But you subtract 2 dice from the attack, so you only do 4 shots each time. Then you have the Best Spot, which allows you to shoot while concealed for 2 action points. He is just insane. You have the Kommando Dacker Boy, who has a Dacker shooter with 5 dice hitting on 4s and unload slugs. Unload slugs allows you to reroll any and all dice while within 6 inches. He also has the Dacker Dash move, so he can perform a free shoot action and then a dash action in any order. So he has insane mobility and damage output. The Kommando Comms Boy has a shock pistol. He's got I Got a Plan Lads, where he can use the pickup or mission actions for 1 less AP, so basically for free. And then he has Listen In, where he can spend 1 AP to give 1 AP to another commando within range. You have your Commando Burner Boy, which has a Flamer, which has the standard rule for Flamers. Then you have your Commando Rocket Boy, who is also insane. It's 5 dice hitting on 4s, with AP 1, and on a crit it does Splash. The ability is Boom Boy, so every time you roll an attack dice, as long as you haven't moved, you can reroll any and all of your attack dice. So if this guy can stand still, it basically has the chance to eliminate anyone it shoots at. It's crazy powerful. You have the Commando Grot, who is armed with a Grot Chopper. It has the Sneaky Zogger rule, so it can never have engage and always has to be under conceal. and has the grappling hook for 1 AP, which allows it to basically fly over terrain, but cannot end within 1 inch of terrain. You have your commando knob with a slugger and then either a big chopper or power claw, and get it done. So when this operative activates, you can select another friendly commando within 6 inches and give it 1 action point limit. No, I would give it the big chopper here, because they're both 4 dice but hit on 2s, and you ideally want to hit on 2s over hitting on 3s. Then you have the bomb squig. It has the bomb squig and boom and stupid rules. So the stupid rule is it cannot perform mission actions or pick up objectives, and it cannot be under conceal. A boom special rule is when it's taken out of action. On a free up, it can make a shooting attack, and its shooting attack can only be made while it's within engagement range, and then after you have made its attack with its dynamite, it is then removed from play, and it cannot trigger boom again if it's triggered its bomb squig rule first. So it stops it booming, then booming again. And you can also not overwatch with the shooting attack. In conclusion, the Kommando kill team is very powerful. Strong raw melee stats, the ability to charge while under the conceal order, very strong ranged fighters, and powerful ploys make this kill team exceedingly strong. The fact that most of their shooting attacks hit on 4s or 3s with potential rerolls and high dice output makes them super dangerous to face. Even the standard commando boy can dice apart foes when rolling well in close combat. They feel slightly too strong with all the choices and rules they have access to, but are still fairly balanced when facing off against the Kriegers. For the Kill Team Octarius overview, the Kill Team Octarius box is another Games Workshop product packed with a ton of value from rules to plastic sprues. It is a complete way to play the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team game, along with being a great introduction to a new edition of the game. While being a bit daunting to get into at first, it gets a lot easier after a game or two. For the pros, it's packed with content from rulebooks to sprues and dice. You get 2 highly detailed kill teams, which can be used even in normal games of Warhammer 40,000. You get enough detailed and easy to build terrain, which provides you with the solid terrain selection for your kill team games. Everything you need to play is included in the box. Measurement being simplified to specific ranges does allow for faster gameplay, along with unlimited ranges on most weapons. The simplified rules are still complex enough to allow for competitive games. Terrain rules are clear and concise, while still having lots of depth. Amazing narrative content with simple yet deep rules for narrative play and campaigns. Match play is still fairly balanced and streamlined, even with the removal of points. Close combat is brutal and fast, and most importantly, crits. For the cons, the shapes still take a bit of time to get used to, and still don't make sense when based on the range bracket they are supposed to represent. While the included kill teams are powerful, they are a bit daunting to play for new players due to the volumes of rules packed within each kill team. The lack of rules for other kill teams from different factions. No external cards for operatives and rules. Crits, while being amazing to see, aren't implemented that well and feel a bit odd to defend with in certain situations. Surprisingly, I don't have too many cons, and I thought that I would have a lot more myself. The biggest issues are the uncertainty of cost and the lack of rules for other kill teams, which have been separated into the Kill Team Compendium book. It's a bit sad to see considering those rules were included with the last Kill Team core book. Complexity is still an issue, but after some games everything makes sense and flows really well. The new Kill Team game makes much more sense when you've played the rules in practice. Snippets of the rules are confusing until you see the full picture. The Death Court of Krieg and Ork Kommando kill teams are really amazing kits, but do add to the rules difficulty for new players. They feel a lot better with practice, but don't be surprised if your first few games take a while as you try to track all their rules and abilities. One other thing I would have liked are external data cards for operatives and special rules too. Having those outside of the book would really help speed up gameplay instead of having to keep flicking back to the Octarius book. It just breaks the gameplay flow, and there's a bit too much to remember without referencing the book. Overall, the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Octarius box is a great product. While I still lack the knowledge on price, I highly recommend buying it if you're interested in Kill Team. It's a great way to start the game and is packed with a lot of content no matter your appeal, from narrative gamers to tournament players. Even without points, the roster selection allows for a lot of tactical selection while remaining balanced. If you want to buy the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Octarius box, you can do so via my link to Games Workshop down below or my personal affiliate link to Element Games. Doing so will net you a 15 to 25% discount at no additional cost to yourself while helping to support the channel, so feel free to check it out if you can. when the box goes up for pre-order, of course. For the closing crit, so there you have it, my take on the new Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Octarius box and its contents. I really like it and I think you will too. Kill Team does look daunting on paper, but it really does all click together when you play. As always, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as to comment what you thought of the review, as well as Kill Team as a whole and whether you're excited to play it. Remember, even in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two constants: shapes that don't match the numbers they are assigned to, and the ability to roll a crit.